Speak podcast, special people encouraging a kid. This is your girl, Barisha, brief of this podcast. And we are so glad that you're joining us. And we, again, are special people encouraging a kid that has experienced trauma, bullying, or suicidal ideations, considerations, even survived attempts. We're here to encourage the child to continue to live again, to speak up, to speak from within, to speak out. So we have our guest again, Angela Charles, with us again, and this is part 2 of our conversation. We're just having fun. We're just having conversation, and we're hoping what we talk about would and will encourage someone, especially our children. So welcome back, Angela. Thank you for being with us again.
Hello, good to be here.
Yes. You shared so much with us in part 1 of our episode, and we thought it was just good just to continue the conversation.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I remember in what we were talking about is that from 5 years to age 15
Mm-hmm.
is when you held all of that in.
Yes.
And at the age of 15, your story is what we're talking about, is what she shared. So go back to the episode to hear about her story. But at age 15 is when she was able to share with her mom of
Mm-hmm.
what happened to her at the age of 5. And so the question, well, we were talking about behind stage is, did she receive any help for that? Did her mom give her any or take her to see a professional counselor or seek professional help? And the answer was no. It wasn't until she was an adult that she received professional help. So let's start with that.
Okay. So I didn't get any help until I became an adult. And my help has been going to church and learning about who God is. That has been my help.
Mhm.
And I grew a very close relationship with him through my Bible, through study, through prayer time, and getting with a group of people
Mhm.
that actually care about you. And so that has mostly been my help.
Mhm.
As a teenager growing through this experience,
Mhm.
I didn't know that I needed help. And it
Mhm.
wasn't until I began to learn things and became more aware of myself
Mhm.
and emotional things that I was going through, relationship challenges that, I've had. I wasn't aware until then that
Mhm.
maybe this childhood experience had something to do with some possible failures and disappointments that I had actually been through.
Mm. Talk a little bit more about what those failures look like to you.
Um, Not knowing how to speak up for myself,
Mhm.
um, even in situations as far as getting a job, you know, um, when you don't know your identity, and
Mhm.
if you've been through some traumatic experiences that can um, leave some emotional scars,
Mhm.
um, it's tough to get through, some situations in life. In relationships, you can easily be taken advantage of, and you
Absolutely.
can hinder yourself by actually getting with someone who took on characteristics as your abuser.
Mhm.
And so um, it's good to get help. It's good to talk through
Mhm.
the trauma that you
Mhm.
have faced.
Mhm.
It's good to identify if you are going through trauma or PSTD,
Mhm.
things of that nature.
Right.
And even if a person is silent or have been through abuse, we may not think of them going through PTSD or PSTD, but they have.
Mhm.
And everybody can benefit from using some counseling and mentoring and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And I believe we're around the same age. And
Yes.
I can remember just even as a young girl, you didn't hear much talk about professional help. You didn't
Mhm.
hear talk about seeking a counselor or therapist. And
Mhm.
it's just really recently when people are talking more about getting therapy, and you hear
Mhm.
now is Jesus in therapy,
Yeah.
so I think parents back then didn't know that was
Mm-mm.
a thing, or when you heard of it, it was considered, "Oh, something is wrong with you," or "You're crazy," or something, so you try to hide it,
Yeah.
or not deal with it at all,
Right.
and not calling you that at all, but,
Uh-huh.
it took you from 5 years of age to 15, and then even at the age of 15, not getting professional help
Yeah.
until you became an adult,
Uh-huh.
when you possibly was out on your own and more things could have happened,
Mhm.
to you where you knew at that time that you needed,
Mhm.
professional help.
Right. I believe, especially in the quote, quote, church world, it's a hush hush situation
Mhm.
because, you just never know who may be going through what they're going through. And as you were talking, it reminded me of that cliche saying, the elephants in the room.
Mhm.
But we are at the time in our lives where the elephants need to be exposed. They need to get out of the room
Absolutely.
because it is too crowded.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
cannot remain silent anymore. People need to know, things need to be exposed. And I remember in a previous conversation we had in part one, we were saying, you know, how important it is for that child to know
Mhm.
what to do. So we always need to tell. There's always a way out. People
Mhm.
need to know that there's always a way out. There's always hope because what we want to do is be great.
Mhm.
We want to celebrate our children.
Mhm.
We want them to have a life. We want them to get better. That is the main thing. We want them to be able to function in
Right.
a very healthy way and
Mhm.
not be hindered by anything that's toxic. So
Mhm.
they need to know and understand.
That's so good.
Mhm.
Does your school or in your school district, highlight ACEs, adverse childhood experiences?
I'm not aware of that.
What it is it's almost like a testing in a
Mhm.
sense to find what the trauma of a child is,
Mhm.
what they've experienced in their childhood, because
Yes.
often what you've experienced in your childhood could possibly arise in your adulthood. And
Yes.
so, knowing what those traumas are,
Mhm.
you're able to deal with it more
Right.
effectively.
Uh-huh.
And often, those childhood traumas are abuse,
Mhm.
or it could be a death of a parent
Mhm.
or someone that's close to you, or it could have been something that is considered traumatic,
Yes.
a car wreck, you
Mhm.
know
Exactly.
parents getting divorced,
Yes.
so knowing and being able to identify what those traumas are,
Mhm.
to be able to pinpoint and deal from there
Yes.
to now.
Mhm.
So, what are some things that your school or the district do to or that are more preventable for children who have experienced trauma
Mhm.
or who may be experiencing bullying or even
Yeah.
suicide?
What I know that our school does in particular is they will assess the situation. They'll make sure that those two parties don't have any contact and that they will isolate them and
Hmm.
make sure, they're not going to be um, a hinder to each other. And also, the abuser will spend time away from that person's classroom to where they may, get suspended or sent home.
Hmm.
That's basically it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Are there
Mhm.
any um, like resources available for
There are
children?
resources available, and we definitely have a hotline
Hmm.
that they can call. And That is a lot of that information is given through our training that we get, as educators, childcare
Mhm.
teachers, and instructors.
Mhm.
It is through our training that we get. And there are specific numbers. There's a child abuse preventive hotline, things of
Mhm.
that nature,
Mhm.
that we can gather that information, a little later.
Okay.
So I can be specific, with that information that I give out. But
Okay.
there are hotline numbers available.
Okay. Is it
Mhm.
something that you can share?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
What's surprising to me is that I'm learning in some
Mhm.
schools districts are they have some like outside resources that want to come in to
Mhm.
provide like a survey,
Mhm.
or an assessment
Yes.
to kids, to
Uh-huh.
children to determine whether or not they have these suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And parents have to give their consent,
Mhm.
but often what we're learning is that parents don't want to.
Okay.
They don't want that to even be a thought in their child's mind.
Mhm.
Do you see anything like that or hear anything or have experienced that with parents?
I haven't experienced that firsthand. However, what you're talking about, I definitely can understand and have heard of that.
Mhm.
And I believe, just by my own personal um, thoughts and speculation, I can understand because it's such a serious matter. It's something that a parent has to sit down and talk to their child with.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, parents may not be ready to face that reality or think they're too young or my child is never going to experience something like that.
Mhm.
But I believe that it's better to prepare your child than not so that they
Mhm.
can be equipped with that information that they need. We don't want to say sometimes just in case, but it's always good to be aware of
Mhm.
something like that possibly happening.
Mhm.
Because even if it's not your child, it could be somebody that your child knows.
Absolutely.
And we need to know what to do.
Right.
We need to know how to help that child
Mhm.
if even a friend goes through something like that.
Mhm.
Because even if they're not the victim, what they're going through can still affect them in a huge way.
Mhm. Mhm. Does school districts still have what they're called PTO? Not PTO, but
It is PTO.
is it PTO?
Yes.
Where parents come in?
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
Do you all still have something like that?
We do, parent-teacher organization.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, with that, do the parents receive any type of like trainings or resources or something? Because suicide is this is the topic. This is
Yes.
what's happening. The
Yes.
bullying, this is big. This is
Mhm.
real time.
Yes.
So what are parents receiving? What resources are they receiving where they can take home to
Mhm.
their children or their child to talk about?
They are receiving that information about preventive measures that you can take with your children. All the hotline numbers are there, and the staff has a regular teachers meeting.
Mhm.
The PTO, they have their regular meetings, and then also at state level, Department of Human Services, those tools and resources are available too. And then we also have our safety posters and things of that nature that we do hang inside of we post them inside of the classroom for
Mhm.
all parents to have access to. And it's undeniable information that they have access to.
Mhm.
If a parent asks for any type of resource on that situation or that topic, it is readily available to them.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, we're gonna get ready to wrap up,
Okay.
Miss Angela. If I think you have something else about your story you may want to share, and you share that,
Hmm.
and if you would just share with our kids, our children, our youth, even parents,
Hmm.
of some practical tools that they can
Okay.
use if they are experiencing. these
Okay,
things.
I sure will. Um, some practical tips that I would tell young children and to parents are number one, get help.
Mhm,
Find someone that you can trust, find someone that you can talk to. Tell them immediately. Do not wait because our biggest thing that we want to do is keep the child safe and stop the abuser. Another thing is to think and say only good things about yourself.
mhm,
Parents, when you help your child, this is a process. It's not going to be an overnight preventive situation.
mhm,
It's going to be a process to help that child get through the trauma that they have been through. Sometimes it takes weeks, months, even years. I didn't get through my situation until years later,
mhm,
and I'm in my 50s. So, get them some help right away. They need to feel their time saying good things about themselves so
mhm,
that they don't feel like they were the bad person in the situation and it's my fault. Um, for children, they need to go places with someone they trust. Never walk somewhere alone.
mhm,
If you're in public places, always have somebody with you. Um, we're in a day and age where kids have phones now.
mhm,
They need some type of device, some type of air tag, some type of detector that they can probably put on um, their property in their clothing or something like that,
mhm.
because a bully is not always somebody that you know. Um, many times a bully is a stranger, and so we want to equip our kids, make sure that they know. Another thing that kids can do is protect themselves by learning martial arts. Parents, teach your kids how to fight back, teach them how to yell, teach them to show some signs if a bully is trying to attack them
Mhm,
or grab them.
mhm,
um, Teach your kids how to stay alert. Teach them how to be aware of their surroundings. Teach them what somebody suspicious may look like. And really quick situation that I was at the airport and so many people were in their phones with their heads down.
mhm.
I like to sit with my head up. I'm alert. I'm observing everything. And what really baffles me and is, so, oh my gosh, it just makes my heart leap so many times is when I see a parent walking and their small child is tailing behind them,
Mhm.
and they haven't turned their head in a matter of seconds, and I'm like, "It's too dangerous in this world now to not know," you know, have your kid in
In
front
front
of
of
you,
you.
always be aware of your
Mhm,
child. Um, Always have a close watch over your child, even if they're playing outside in the backyard,
mhm,
always be aware.
mhm,
And if a child is home alone, make sure that they have phones, phone numbers. If they do feel afraid or they feel like they're in a situation where it's not okay and it triggers something within
mhm,
them to let them know, okay, something strange is happening here, they need to find a safe place where they can hide
mhm.
until someone comes and finds them until they are safe.
So good, so good. Thank you, Angela. Thank
You're
you
very
for that.
welcome.
Definitely needed. Children, youth, I hope that you were able to grab hold, even our parents, to what Angela had just shared, those practical tools, and be able to use them. Your life, it matters. You are important. And if you feel like you can't talk to anyone, go and yell, scream it out. You have someone available to hear and readily available to hear from you. So you're not alone. You're not alone in this. So we here at Speak Podcast, we want you to live. We want you to speak up, to speak out, to speak from within so that you can live and to live again. Thank you for joining us for this other episode of Speak Podcast. Remember to join us on YouTube, to click on the like and subscribe and share this content with someone else. We are here to help you, to encourage you again to live again. Thanks for joining us at Speak Podcast. Until next time. Bye.